When we think about luxury, we often imagine yachts, mansions, and exotic cars. But what if I told you some of the most valuable and jaw-dropping status symbols are worn not on the road, but on the wrist? In today's luxury market, certain watches don't just cost more than the average home. They blow those prices out of the water. These are the watches that redefine extravagance, where artistry meets obscene wealth. So if you've ever wondered what kind of timepieces billionaires are quietly flexing behind their tailored suits, here are the top 10 most expensive watches that cost more than a house. Graff Diamond's Hallucination of 55 million. Yes, you read that right, 55 million. The Graff Diamond's Hallucination isn't a watch as much as it is a kaleidoscope of colored diamonds stitched together into the shape of a timepiece. The dial is so small, it's almost irrelevant. What matters here is the insane number of extremely rare diamonds, over 110 carats of pink, yellow, blue, and green stones, all mounted on a platinum bracelet. This isn't about function, this is about making jaws drop. Lawrence Graff, known as the King of Diamonds, unveiled this masterpiece at Baselworld to showcase Graff's power in gem sourcing. And it worked. It still holds the title of the most expensive watch ever made. Graff Diamond's The Fascination of 40 million, not far behind its sibling is the Fascination, another marvel from Graff Diamonds priced at 40 million. This one is slightly more traditional, if you can call anything with 152.96 carats of white diamonds traditional. What sets the Fascination apart is its transforming mechanism. The central 38.13 carat pear-shaped diamond is removable and can be worn as a ring. That's right, you get a timepiece and a standalone mega jewel in one. It's ultimate versatility for the ultra-rich. If Graff wanted to prove they could outshine the rest of the luxury watch world, this watch leaves little room for debate. Breguet Grande Complication Marie Antoinette, 30 million. Now let's take a step back. Centuries, in fact. Commissioned in the late 1700s and completed over 40 years after Marie Antoinette's death, the Breguet Marie Antoinette is one of the most legendary timepieces in horology, valued at 30 million. This pocket watch was originally designed to include every known complication of the era: perpetual calendar, minute repeater, chronograph, and more, inside a stunning gold case. It was lost for decades, stolen from a museum in Jerusalem, and finally recovered in 2007. Breguet even recreated it as an homage, proving that craftsmanship and historical legacy can be just as valuable as diamonds. This watch isn't just expensive, it's a piece of time, traveling royalty. Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime Ref 6300A at 31 million. The Grandmaster Chime is Patek Philippe's magnum opus, a wristwatch that took over 100,000 hours of development.
Francs up front, 26 million. This side on the telephone. 31 million francs for the Patek Grandmaster Chime. Ladies and gentlemen, once in a lifetime, only at Christie's. Sold for you, 9198.
We just broke a new world record, the most expensive watch ever sold.
The Ref 6300A was a unique piece made for the Only Watch charity auction in 2019 and sold for 31 million, making it the most expensive wristwatch ever sold at auction. What makes it special? It's double-faced, has 20 complications including a grande and petite sonnerie, a perpetual calendar, and even an acoustic alarm. The steel case is a rarity for Patek, which mostly uses precious metals, adding even more to its exclusivity. This isn't just a grail watch, it's the Mount Everest of horology. Jacob & Co. Billionaire watch, no 18 million. Jacob.
Well, it just came true, so tell us all about this new Astronomia.
The Astronomia collection was born in 2016, and I remember when Jacob was telling me about it. I wasn't involved in the business, but I remember when he was telling me about it, he was so happy.
Jacob Arabo, the man behind Jacob & Co., is no stranger to bold statements. The Billionaire watch, priced at 18 million, is exactly what it sounds like, a dazzling flex for the ultra-wealthy. Featuring 260 carats of emerald, cut diamonds set into an 18K white gold bracelet, this watch also houses a tourbillon movement, visible through its skeletonized dial. The diamonds are so large and perfectly matched that the watch essentially becomes an extension of the stones. Floyd Mayweather famously bought one and wore it ringside, casually. For those who want their net worth visible at all times, this watch delivers. Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona, 17.8 million. Sometimes it's not about materials, it's about legacy. Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona, a relatively modest stainless steel watch, sold at auction for $17.8 million in 2017. Why? Because it belonged to Paul Newman himself and kickstarted the cult following around the Daytona reference 6239. Engraved with "Drive Carefully, May," from his wife Joanne Woodward, the watch became a symbol of racing culture and classic Hollywood. It showed that emotional value, provenance, and cultural significance can rival, even exceed, precious stones and metals. This sale changed how people view vintage watches forever. Patek Philippe Henry Graves' super complication, the 24 million before wristwatches took over, pocket watches ruled the game. And none more so than the Henry Graves super complication, a masterpiece from 1933 that sold for 24 million at Sotheby's. This watch was commissioned by American banker Henry Graves to outdo his rival, James Packard, in a literal arms race of watchmaking. The result was a timepiece with 24 complications, including a celestial chart of the New York sky, a minute repeater, and a perpetual calendar. Built without the aid of computers, it's an analog marvel that still inspires awe in horologists today. Think of it as the Bugatti Veyron of pocket watches, hand-built perfection before digital tools existed. Richard Mille RM5602 Sapphire $2 million. Now let's get futuristic. The Richard Mille RM5602 Sapphire is a ghost-like machine, entirely crafted from transparent sapphire crystal, showcasing the full inner workings of its tourbillon movement. Priced at over $2 million, it's shockingly lightweight and complex. The cable, suspended movement, is inspired by suspension bridges and requires meticulous assembly. What you get is a watch that looks like it's floating on your wrist. Limited to only 10 pieces worldwide, it's a symbol of cutting-edge horology. Richard Mille isn't just building watches. They're building engineering marvels with design language straight from sci-fi. Louis Moinet Meteoris Collection, for $4.6 million per piece. Timekeeping meets space travel in the Louis Moinet Meteoris Collection, a set of 4 watches each housing fragments of actual meteorites, including pieces from the Moon and Mars. Each watch costs around $4.6 million, and when they launched, they were sold as a set. These watches combine astronomical rarity with mechanical artistry. The dials feature tourbillons and space rock inserts millions of years old, turning time itself into a celestial event. It's not just about hours and minutes. It's about holding the universe on your wrist. That's an idea few other watches can claim to match. Vacheron Constantin 572-60 priceless, estimated 80-10 million last but far from least. The Vacheron Constantin 572-60 is a one-of-a-kind pocket watch commissioned by a private collector and unveiled in 2015. With 57 complications, it holds the record for the most complicated mechanical watch ever made. It took 3 master watchmakers 8 years to build. Among its features, Hebrew perpetual calendar, double retrograde split, seconds chronograph, multiple time zones, astronomical displays, and even a night mode for chiming silence. It's estimated to be worth 10 million, but it's technically priceless because it will never be replicated. This is horology at its most mind-blowing, a mechanical brain in gold and sapphire. You still with us? Let's reflect for a moment. These watches are far more than expensive accessories. They're sculptures in motion, crafted by artisans and engineers, pushing the limits of human creativity and mechanical skill. In a world where time is our most precious resource, these watches turn that concept into a tangible, wearable luxury. And while most of us will never own one, they continue to inspire awe, and perhaps just a bit of envy. Imagine buying a watch instead of a mansion. For the average person, that's unthinkable. But for the ultra-rich, it's a Tuesday. Yet beyond the money lies something more profound, the human obsession with marking time beautifully. These timepieces are the result of centuries of refinement, daring innovation, and yes, sheer indulgence. So which watch would you wear if money were no object? Would you go for diamonds like the hallucination, or choose horological mastery like the Grandmaster chime? Maybe you're a history buff and the Breguet Marie Antoinette calls to you. Whatever your style, these watches are a fascinating glimpse into a world where precision, passion, and price collide. And if you thought this list was wild, wait until you see our next video. Top 10 super yachts that are floating mansions. Some of those aren't even allowed to be photographed. Hit play and dive deeper into the most exclusive corners of the watch world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content.